Hey everybody, Nick or VMX here, and welcome to McJuggernuggets Exposé series, part 5. We're going past the original 100 point. Well, originally I had intended on coming up with 100 reasons, and I reached that a lot sooner than I had anticipated, so we're going to continue, and it's really open-ended when I'm going to stop. Basically, when I get to whatever videos he's doing currently at that point, and even then, I'm probably just going to say, okay, this is the last one for now, because I'm sure he will continue to do videos and will continue to fuck up. I mean, honestly, I watch the videos every day that he puts out, and I see things that I'm like, oh, there's a thing, and there's a thing, and there's a thing. So, how many parts will this be? Well, that's up to Jesse now, isn't it? Let's continue on. Number 101. So, in My Uncle's Invitation, Jesse is visiting with his girlfriend for a few days. And gotta grow her channel after all, right? And just as he's signing off on the video, his phone goes off, and it's his uncle. A few things about this. Jesse's phone never goes off during vlogging, despite the vast amount of vlogging that he does, unless it's something to do to advance the plot. He never gets random calls from friends or whatever, unless it's something that actually will cause drama or move the story forward. Another thing to point out is that Jesse and his immediate family supposedly haven't talked to Uncle Larry in years, despite the fact that we learn that his mom and Aunt Jackie and Uncle Larry all own a business together, and Larry seems to live very close to Jesse. But we haven't seen Larry before in any videos, even ones with family gatherings. But he hasn't talked to him in years, right? Of course, he instantly recognizes the number, saying that it's his Uncle Larry, so he has the number in his phone. Just a few things to chew on. That being said, why would his uncle not offer him a place to stay sooner, like right after he was kicked out, or even right after the tent was destroyed, not several days later? Because he had to get the Eagle's Landing, Zach's house, and the trip to Pennsylvania in there. It was all planned. Number 102. In the video An Unexpected Surprise, Jesse reluctantly goes to work with his Uncle Larry and his mother and acts like a useless hump and bitches and moans when they ask him to do a few simple things. But then they give him a big surprise, that they have made t-shirts based on his channel to sell. If you believe for a second that the entire conception of the Juggy store was done without Jesse's knowledge, then I guess you'll believe anything. But let me just put it to you this way. How can we believe that all this is real and sincere when he has something to sell you? A simple visit to the Juggy store shows that the store owner is Jesse himself, using the username Turber22 for whatever reason. But it clearly shows his picture, directly taken from his YouTube profile, and lists the shop owner as male. To make matters worse, the account used was first made in November of 2014, 5 months before the shop was revealed on his channel, showing what anyone in the with any business sense knows, that these things are not made overnight and that it has been worked on for quite some time. Number 103. In voicemail from Psychodad, we find out that earlier that day, Jesse's father called Uncle Larry, stating that he heard through the grapevine that Jesse was staying there, and stating that he doesn't want him to stay there because he wants Jesse to get a job and his own place. We find out in a later video that Jeff found out about it from Tom, who supposedly texted him the very same day that Jesse arrived. But if Jeff has such a problem with it, why would he wait so long? Jesse uploaded the video of him arriving at Uncle Larry's on April 19th, chronicling the trip from his girlfriend's place to his uncle's. But the video with the voicemail was uploaded on April 21st. So either we're to believe that Jeff would get the text and then do nothing about it for 3 days, or that Larry leaves voicemail messages unopened for 3 days, neither of which makes any sense. Number 104. In Psychodad's surprise visit, we have Jesse once again living in a tent, or in this case 2 tents, outside of his uncle's house, to capitulate with his dad's wish of not living inside Larry's house. First, he manages to piss off Larry by hiding his beer around the house as a silly prank, and then his dad suddenly shows up. Why are these two things related? It's storytelling. While Larry and Jeff talk, Jesse watches from a distance with a great deal of paranoia and is severely worried that his uncle will sell him out and then he'll be left homeless. Normally, the viewer would think that's pretty extreme. Except for the beer prank he got on his uncle's bad side. He clearly did the whole beer prank thing to set up a little bit of tension between him and Larry before having his dad show up. Number 105. The whole tent situation really doesn't even make sense anyway, as Larry supposedly comes up with the idea to put Jesse in a tent to appease Jeff. So what was the point of Jeff coming over to talk to Larry about not wanting Jesse in the house? Why, to also create more tension by telling Larry about the trophies being broken, some of which apparently were his, and then have Larry want to sit down with Jesse, which would create more tension when he gets aggravated about Jesse using some of his belongings without asking. Number 106. In the video The Man in the RV, which mostly has nothing to do with the title and is more about Jesse bonding with his uncle, we get a glimpse of the man who currently lives in the RV. This would just be a little nothing scene if Jesse hadn't drawn attention to it. However, it shows more inconsistencies in the story. Initially, Larry referred to the man as a kid, suggesting that he is younger than Larry. However, then he corrected himself and stated that he has been friends with the man for a long time, longer even than Jesse's dad, and that he's known Jesse's dad for 30 years. So, for the 50-something-year-old Larry to have been friends with this man for more than 30 years, why does this dude look so very much younger than Larry or Jesse's dad? It's a minor point, but it just shows the sloppiness of keeping their facts straight. Number 107. Up next, we have Psycho Dad Fights Uncle Larry, which is a hilarious clickbait title, as there's no fighting in the video, just some mild raising of voices. Anyway, after talking with his uncle and asking if he'll send Tom out to play DS with him, Jeff appears like 4 seconds later to destroy the DS and try to pull the tent apart with his bare hands before Larry comes out and puts a stop to it. The reason that he's showing up is because Jeffrey busted up all the remaining trophies and blamed Jesse. Aside from the fact that it's hilarious that anyone would fall for that shit, it's amazing how on cue Jeff is in this video. Larry goes in the house, Jesse goes in the tent, and Jeff appears literally out of nowhere. At the end of the video, Jesse yells at his dad not to touch his car, and Jeff says, "I paid for the car anyway." Oh, really? I thought it was the mom's car, and then Jeffrey bought it from his mom, and then Jesse bought it from Jeffrey. I guess that's another hole in that story. Number 108. In Uncle Larry's RV Freakout, we learn that Jeffrey put graffiti on the side of Larry's RV, severely pissing him off. We also learn about the Big Brother channel being hacked, something that Jeffrey blames Jesse for, which he disavows any knowledge of, but it was done in the guise of his fans. However, the most fucked up part is that the video that was put on the channel during the hack was supposedly associated with the hacktivist group Anonymous, supposedly taking Jesse's side in this conflict and hacking his brother. Anonymous mainly go after corrupt politicians, world leaders, and pedophiles. I find it hard to believe that anyone associated with them would hack a YouTube channel based on taking sides in a sibling rivalry that is clearly fake. I mean, I kind of think that people associated with Anonymous are probably smart enough to know this shit is fake. Jesse saved the video of Jeffrey smashing the trophies and blames it on Jesse, but why would Jeffrey even upload that to begin with when he could easily be shown to his dad? Which is what winds up happening in the end. Well, because it's all part of the story. Number 109. The video I'm Home has Jesse back at the house, but he has not yet uploaded the video that explains how this happened. We see this later in the video Psycho Dad Reacts to 1 Million Juggies. There's a few things about the pairing of these two videos and the awkward timing involved that show how this is just, well, a show. Firstly, Jesse uploads an update video first, alerting everyone that he's home before the big Psycho video. Why would he do that? Well, to promote the video, of course, which was one of the most anticipated videos on the channel, as it was pre-promoted by Jesse in the I'm Home video, and even got a date and time as to when exactly it would be uploaded, getting more views than even the video where he got kicked out. Also notice the clickbaity title, Psycho Dad Reacts to 1 Million Juggies. The video has Jesse chilling in Larry's camper, and then suddenly Jeffrey arrives, traps Jesse in the camper, and tows it to his dad's house in an attempt to get him in trouble. But Jesse is able to calm his dad down long enough to watch the video. Why wasn't it called Psycho Brother Steals RV or something like that? Because the video was already promoted and we knew that something led to Jesse coming back home. We just didn't know what. With the editing here, including the video that Jesse made from various submissions from his extremely young audience, Jesse was going for a feel-good video here, and also setting up the future issues with his brother, which many viewers have referred to as the Prank Wars season. Essentially, this was a season finale of McJuggernuggets' show on YouTube, and he made a promo beforehand to get people excited about it. And it worked perfectly. If you were to consider the beginning of this season to be the video Trophy Destruction Psycho Revenge, this season finale has the most views by far, with 4 million more than Psycho Dad Fights Uncle Larry, and 4 million more than Psycho Dad Flattens Gaming Lair, and 2 million more than Psycho Dad Grills Wii U. This worked so well that Jesse would do it more in the future, promoting a video with another video. Number 110. Later in the video, Jeff feigns ignorance, not knowing how popular his son's channel is, and seems to not even know what a subscriber is. This is interesting, as he took part in the 500K celebration, and even told Jesse specifically that the 100K award didn't mean as much as he had reached 500,000. Considering how fast the channel grew from 100K to 500K, how could he be so shocked that Jesse reached 1 million, and even seem to not even know anything about YouTube at all? Number 111. What if I told you that, except for what you saw explicitly in each video, Jesse was living at home the entire time? At the end of Psycho Dad Reacts to 1 Million Juggies, he goes into his room and ends the video. If you look at his bed, you can see it looks pretty similar to the last time he had been in there, which was in the video Kicked Out of the House Psycho Update. He tried to make pains to put the blanket, the pillow, and even the stupid caterpillar doll in positions similar to when he last filmed in the room. This would be consistent, except for the fact that Jesse removed the blanket and the pillow and took it with him into the garage, and then presumably also into the tent. The only other time he had been back into the house since then was to supposedly steal his dad's credit card and to grab the copy of Skyrim. So how did the blanket and pillow get back into the bed unless Jesse had put them there sometime previous? Either he has been sleeping at home all along other than when he had to make videos, or he had forgotten that he supposedly removed them and set everything up to look perfect for this video. Either way, fake as hell. Number 112. Lastly, the very, very end of this video has Jesse zooming in on the Keep It Rigid t-shirt he finds draped over the couch in his room. How did it get there if Jesse hadn't been there and seemed surprised to find it? Well, that would probably be Jesse's mom, Terry, putting it there, right? Except, why would she have a shirt perfectly draped over the couch for Jesse to find when his homecoming was a complete surprise facilitated by Jeffrey stealing Larry's RV? If the entire thing is real and isn't planned, why would Terry leave a shirt in Jesse's room that he wasn't living in instead of having Larry give it to him directly? You might ask why Jesse is so sloppy about these things, but the fact is he's aware that many, many people know that this is fake. But he's still trying to maintain the illusion for the younger viewers, and he also wants to make money. I referred to this video earlier as a season finale, and I stick by that. One of the last shots in the video of this season being Jesse's Keep It Rigid shirt, the phrase that he uses to end all of his videos, and also a fairly smart promotion for his business selling shirts on Etsy. Number 113. In The Wedding Confrontation, Jesse starts out by telling a short story about how he used to work in a bank, and then quit to do YouTube videos full-time. He will repeat this story many times, going into further detail about how when he quit the bank to do YouTube videos full-time, his family did not approve, and it started the tensions with his dad, which led to the Psycho Dad Shreds video games video. However, it directly clashes with the narrative introduced back then, was that Jesse graduated from college, refused to get a job, and locked himself in his room playing video games. So that's when his dad shredded his games. He would even get the story more confused at one point, stating that he did nothing during that period due to his head injury, though that doesn't line up with the idea that it happened while filming 21 shots. Basically, the backstory is a mess that makes no sense because he keeps changing it. The fact is, at the time Jesse's dad shredded the games, whether he was a few months out of college or not, or looking for a job, or whether he had a job and then he quit it, he was definitely not doing YouTube full-time at that point, uploading sporadically. Not to mention that he claimed the most popular videos were uploaded by his brother. Number 114. Jesse Gets Swatted is a video where Jesse claims that during his Welcome Home live stream, first he suffered distributed denial of service attacks by hackers who disabled his stream over and over again, and then at one point, while the stream was not live, a SWAT team arrived based on the false report to 911. The problem? There's literally no proof. There's no local news reports, no articles other than ones directly referencing the fact that Jesse claims he was swatted. Nothing to corroborate the story on any level other than his word and that of his family, minus Jeffrey, who wasn't there at the time. As Jesse correctly points out, swatting is a form of domestic terrorism and has severe punishments. And although Jesse would hint towards police being close to catching the person responsible, he never follows up on it because there was no police investigation, there is no culprit, there was no swatting, it never happened. If it had happened, there would be an ongoing investigation, and either we would have gotten an update about the person being caught, which also would have been in the news, or probably a lot of whining from Jesse that they didn't or couldn't catch the person. Instead, after a few mentions, he just kind of forgets it and he doesn't mention it anymore. Jesse, of course, claims that this happened while the stream was not live, as otherwise that would require some sort of proof, such as footage from the stream, as there is with many real instances of swatting. While I agree with Jesse that swatting is a horrible thing to do, faking getting swatted, or more accurately just claiming that it happened when it didn't, is a real dick move. And let's be honest, isn't it kind of odd to think of Jesse getting swatted while streaming video games and his dad doesn't go berserk on him about it? The dad already thinks that Jesse constantly playing video games is the source of many, many problems, and having police come into the house and point guns at the family as a direct result of Jesse playing video games would not cause severe issues with his dad? Yeah, no. Number 115. Mowing lawns with Psycho Dad makes 0 sense. Jesse's supposed to be working for his dad, something he has done in the past according to previous videos. But somehow, Jeff leaves for work without waking his son and just goes off and expects him to show up. Then Jesse wakes up in the early afternoon and has to track his dad down, who understandably is annoyed that he's so late, to which Jesse doesn't have a decent excuse other than that's when he wakes up. I'm supposed to believe Jeff didn't give him a time to report to the job and where he was supposed to go, or why wouldn't they leave together? So he could do this mostly boring video of trying to film while using a lawnmower and bitching about it. Number 116. In Mother's Day brunch, Jesse takes his mother to New Dodge's Market for brunch, but he's interrupted when a random fan calls the restaurant asking for Jesse, something Jesse finds kind of unbelievable. You know what? So do I. The best are the crazy jump cuts when Jesse is on the phone with this so-called fan, and when he asks for the kid's Twitter handle, we never hear what it is, nor is it in the description. This was obviously put out there to make the videos seem real. Number 117. In Life Back Home Psycho Update, Jesse notices that a bunch of trees and brush are cleared in the area where Eagle's Landing used to be, and surmises that his dad must be clearing the area, and he has no idea why. Well, later on in the series, a lot happens out here, such as the hole being dug, the motorcycle going in it, and all that other crap. Isn't this the same video where Jesse says that part of his YouTube job is writing? Yeah. Number 118. In Psycho Relationship Problems, Jesse basically acts like an asshole, treats his girlfriend like shit, and then blames his behavior on bipolar disorder. Surprised he didn't say traumatic brain injury, as that was what his story was previous to this video. Number 119. In the video A Family Job, Jeff tells Jesse about having to mow 9 lawns tomorrow, including going to the store to buy fertilizer. That store, of course, is Voros Plumbing, where Jesse will film the Psycho Kid Gets Arrested skit. Of course, the amusing thing about this is how fake that video is, and we all know about that, and I'll get to that, but the really crazy part is how foreshadowed it was. With Jesse at the end saying he can already see Jeffrey messing with him, which is what leads to his meltdown, which is what leads to the whole arrest thing. Number 120. So let me go back to Voros Plumbing for a bit. When talking about the video Psycho Kid Gets Arrested, this is one of the most obviously fake videos that Jesse has ever done, to the point of being insulting to his viewers. Now, before I get into all that, however, I should mention that after this video aired, numerous YouTubers have called Voros Plumbing and asked about the video, speaking to Joan, who appears in this video, as well as another future video, and they have said it is 100% fake. Number 121. So let's talk about the actual video. The story in this one is that Jesse is working for his dad while being taunted by Jeffrey and the camera. He flips out, loses his cool, and starts breaking shit in Voros Plumbing. They call the cops. A cop appears 9 seconds later, and he gets arrested after trying to flee the scene. Now, this video is so obviously fake that he started to lose viewer confidence, with even his most die-hard juggies claiming the video was faked. So he later set up a narrative that it was fake, but he wasn't in on it, stating that the cop was a friend of his dad's who posed as a cop as part of a Scared Straight ripoff. But I fully believe that this was originally supposed to be taken at face value, which honestly does not say much for Jesse's respect for his viewers' intelligence. So I'll point out everything to do with that. Firstly, the cop appears way too quickly. He seems to know that there's a camera. He yells at Jeffrey for filming before even assessing the scene. He does not identify himself as being part of any police organization. His outfit is an obvious Halloween costume, which you can see online here. He has no gun, no taser, or anything other than handcuffs. Jesse uses the line, "I've played Grand Theft Auto, I know how this goes down," which no one in their right mind would think of to say other than to be funny. Also, I want to mention that Jesse is once again copying Waffle Pone, who had already done the arrest by an obviously fake cop in the past. Number 122. So Jesse gets arrested and tweets that they let him out of the station. But when the whole thing came out as being a Scared Straight riff, what sense does that make? Why would a fake cop bring him to a real police station? Jesse contradicted this by later claiming that he was never brought to a police station and that he was put in a car, which was not even a police car but an old Crown Victoria, and that the cop basically yelled at him and then he let him go, which his father claims to have bribed the cop. But how would Jesse not know that the cop was bribed when he was taken away and released and his dad stayed behind? Wouldn't he have seen this? Also, according to TweetDeck, the tweet saying that he just got let out of the station and was heading to Uncle Larry's was sent from his home computer. Wah wah. Number 123. In scene of the crime, Jesse returns to Voros Plumbing to apologize and winds up talking to Joan, who tells him that she never called the police and that he should talk to his father about what happened. Well, duh, you didn't call the police and have them show up 9 seconds later. But, that being said, the whole idea that this was set up by Jesse's dad and his friend Kenny and Jeffrey is ridiculous and unbelievable. How did they know Jesse would flip out? If they figured that he would flip out, how did they know that it would happen at Voros Plumbing, where they happened to have a fake cop waiting in the wings to burst in after he started flipping out? I mean, if you're to believe this narrative, they either absolutely knew exactly how to make Jesse flip out and exactly where and when to do it to have this guy Kenny burst in and arrest Jesse, or they planned to have Kenny follow them around and stalk them all day until they got him to flip out. Lastly, since this trip to the store was only a preamble to going around mowing lawns and laying down fertilizer, what did they plan to do if Jesse flipped out at one of those places in front of one of his father's customers? Yeah, it doesn't hold up to even the slightest bit of scrutiny. Number 124. So then we learn the whole thing was faked from Terry, and it sets up the idea for Jesse's therapist, now given the name Dr. Nelson, to have a session with the entire family. The problem is there is no therapist, psychiatrist, or psychologist in the Elmer area named Dr. Nelson. She literally does not exist. Well, I actually did find a Dr. Nelson, a physical therapist. Maybe Jesse Googled therapist in his hometown and he didn't know that a physical therapist is different. Or maybe he thought nobody would check up on his sloppy writing. Nope. And number 125. In Psycho Family Therapy, we're introduced to a woman claiming to be Dr. Nelson, but for some reason, instead of having the Ridgway family come to her office, she comes to their home. This is, at best, highly unorthodox, and at worst, total bullshit. No therapist would do this, especially in a situation that is somewhat volatile, as it takes control away from the therapist, and it puts them in a possibly dangerous situation. Of course, Jesse couldn't do the video at Dr. Nelson's practice because there is no Dr. Nelson, just some woman who some people claim looks like it could be Aunt Melissa who plays the part. And yes, while she doesn't sound anything like Melissa, it is possible that all the dialogue was dubbed over later, since we never see her mouth anyway.